Welcome to another episode of the Super Metroid Multicategory Map Rando Tournament. We've got another round one match here between tonytyoung and NZT. NZT being the 19th seed, Tony being the 46th seed. Winner going on to round two to play Super Sponge. We've already seen a good amount of the round one races so far. I think so far there has been kind of a theme where there's been a lot of races where there's been a more experienced Map Rando player versus a more experienced traditional Rando player. And so far the Map Rando player has been winning those matchups. We have another one here where NZT, being a very talented Map Rando player, Tony not being as experienced but having a long background in traditional Rando. So given the history and the seeding, NZT is the favorite, but we'll see if Tony is able to pull off the upsets. As for the pick and ban, I closed the tab, so I need to pull up the picture Aussie sent me. Shout out to Aussie for organizing a lot of this tournament and setting up this race. NZT was the first ban. Decided to ban Gravity 9+1, the Gravity Suit and E-Tanks mode. Then Tony vetoed Metroid's No Mother Brain 2 and picked this mode, which is Various Suit and all of the items required for suitless movements. We still have no objectives and double suit for Game 2 and potentially Game 3. I think a lot of these modes are pretty interesting. They can be very quick, but they can also, if they want to, even with all the starting items that you have, they can be very slow. And again, we've seen that in the tournament. Some of these seeds have taken, over an hour and sometimes even over 90 minutes. We do have an early morph and early power bombs, which I imagine the runners are very happy to see. Sometimes the seed can troll you with those, make you traverse through multiple areas and multiple dead ends. In this case, there are a lot of rooms that would normally be dead ends that aren't because you have the Various Suit and because you can get across most Meridia rooms. Especially now that you have morph, because you start with Spring Ball and you can Spring Ball jump. But often these seeds can be a hunt for morph in the early game that can sometimes span across multiple areas. So fortunately that will not be the case this time. So runners have explored bits of NZT actually on a reset, maybe not comfortable with the Alcatraz escape. But the runners have traversed parts of Brinstar and Norfair. We have not seen an accessible map just yet. You find Turian, though. Another area. Still looking for that progression, which at the moment seems to be super missiles, as we've been blocked off by a few missile doors and a few super gates. Did find early power bombs as well, right next to the room we found Morph. Tony lands on a very painful ouch. Name very appropriate for the situation, as they do quite a bit of damage, especially without both suits. Should be fine, though. And we do find our super missiles down this path. I'm not even going to pretend I remember the name of this room. It does have a name. I do not know it. But you see the other uses of the all of these starting items you have for the kind of pseudo gravity. Start with Ice Beam, High Jump, Spring Ball, and Grapple. And you see that Grapple being useful in other ways, just being able to deal with those flies, which would otherwise take quite a few shots with this beam. The back of Botfoon we can't do yet. Don't expect we'll be fighting Botfoon unless the seed absolutely forces us to, and the seed is forcing us to do a back-to-front Botwoon. Things have gone wrong. You see a slight deviation. NZT reset out of the Alcatraz, which you're going to see Tony get, hopefully. It's a little bit trickier with high jump. You see Tony going for a different setup than you normally do in any percent. But NZT resetting that, and then actually also going back for a save after hitting super missiles. Giving Tony a slight lead in the early game. Of course, both are now immediately going different directions, so that lead isn't super meaningful. Looks like the direction Tony went is the more immediately profitable. Getting that plasma beam here in Spring Ball Room. You can get out thanks to the power of Spring Ball jumps. You do have to do a Spring Ball jump out of this top hole. I don't know if you can wall jump out. And I'm sure Tony knows how to Spring Ball jump, given that he picked this category. But he will need to do that. Actually, he did not. It's interesting. So we see the save that NZT took, and Tony didn't come back to bite Tony. Going to have to go back and get those super missiles again. This is a strange one. I know, again, Tony is more experienced in traditional randos, where spring wheel jumping is a known and pretty popular trick. So I'm a little surprised that he didn't think to get out of Spring Ball Room that way. But either way, he knows where the plasma is. He can come back for it later once he has a charge beam and that firepower is really relevant. NZT, meanwhile, has gone the other way and is currently getting the Brinstar map after checking out Big Pink. There's another major, or potentially two majors here below Big Pink, down and to the right. And it looks like that's all for majors in the area. NZT actually going to reset, grab all of the Big Pink items again, and then presumably go for that major. Resetting really just to save power bombs, because we don't have regular bombs and only one PB pack, so every power bomb we can save is very valuable to us. Although that doesn't really make sense either, because we could have just farmed the crabs for power bombs. But I digress. Tony has reclaimed those super missiles, is now headed into Turian, the other direction. Is going down kind of a one-way, but fortunately Grapple will get him back out, because the way out of Turian, as we saw earlier, is Croc Escape, which Grapple Beam will let us do. Nice 2x2 hole there. That could be Kraid, potentially. In between Ice Hallway and Croc Escape. And you're gonna want to farm some power bombs down here. That is one of the bigger things you really start to learn, especially in, like, it's something you already kind of do in normal rando, but especially in Map Rando, it's really important, is just making sure you're keeping your resources full. So whenever you have an opportunity to farm power bombs, it's usually correct too, in the early game, I would say. Looks like Tony potentially going to be doing the kind of blind dive here for this item. Will probably lead him back to Mount Everest. Looks like he's not going to risk it though. Even with this loadout, it can be a little bit scary. There are some rooms that are difficult, although most rooms should be possible. Here's that crate I was talking about. It's a little bit awkward with 4 supers, because if you miss a super without charge and without missiles, there's no other way to damage Kraid, and the super drops can be a little bit finicky. I believe it's a 2% drop. So Okay, Tony not quite getting the quick kill, but smartly not shooting off too many supers just to be safe. That's a little silly. And there we go. Nice and easy, no misses. Saw NZT meanwhile on the right, putting the suitless loadout to good use, getting that spring ball jump up to, or up below Mount Everest, here to Main Street. I'm not totally sure where he's going. I don't know if there's anything over here. I guess this is just back where we started, so NZT probably gonna go for that major that we saw Tony back out of. Unfortunately, it looks like you're gonna have to go through Botwoon to do that? So that's a little awkward. Botwoon is doable with 10 supers, I don't believe it's in logic. So NZT actually gonna bail. Not gonna bother with that right now. I'm gonna head up to Meridia, another place we can access thanks to the suitless movement, because we can get up G4 elevator. Who needs to be a bit careful. That's rough. He just saved though, it looks like, so not too bad. Yeah, taking an unfortunate death, but it was only 3 rooms away. Need to be a bit more careful here in the pancake room. So NZT checking out Meridia. I did not see where the map is. NZT seems to want to go up, so presumably the map is in that direction at least. Metroid giving us a hard time. Mocktroid, as they often do. Tony gonna find a lava dive, which is gonna be tight on one tank, getting this way. Also would be even tighter getting back, as in requires a very unique trick. NZT going for the spring wall jump here across the sand pit. I actually like to take off high jump for the spring wall there, then turn it back on when you turn spring wall on. I feel like that makes the trick a little bit easier, but NZT was able to get the spring wall jump across. Rewarded with a double chamber, which will lead us to potentially a good item. Well, our first missile is not too bad. Tony's still on the hunt for missiles. And we're back in Norfair. NZT does have the power bombs to get through this and back safely, but not gonna opt for that right now, especially when we're this close to the Meridia map. It is quite literally right here. These pirates are pretty painful though. Only 1 suit, so those do a full tank per hit. Luckily NZT's picked up a few tanks from the big pink room, which we see Tony in right now. So, Meridia looking pretty barren. There's Dragon and Motherbrain. We don't really need to bother fighting Dragon right now, since we'll have to go up there to kill Motherbrain anyways. But it's good for NZT to know that's there. And we'll see where he decides to go. I don't know if he saw something that I didn't up here, or if he's just going for a couple X's. There might have been a major on the far right of the area that I didn't see, because I kind of looked away when it was panning that way on the map. And it is also reasonable to just chase some X's, get some more ammo. So we see one here, bringing our super total up to 15. Again, another use of starting with the Ice Beam is that we always have a Zeb skip for Mother Brain, so once we have enough ammo to kill Mother Brain 1 and 2, we are in a comfortable go mode. Technically, it would be go mode already if you have that much ammo and health, but with the Ice Beam, you don't have to kill the Zebs and then refill, which, depending on where the refill spot is and what kind of refill it is, can be a bit of a commitment. I didn't see where Tony got an extra super pack, by the way. But Tony already up to 15 without grabbing the super that we just saw NZT get. Hopefully Tony knows you can get out of this. Apparently not. Tony also resetting out of that. That one is not even a spring wall jump. You can actually just jump out. And again, I don't want to criticize the runners too much, but this is, if I'm not mistaken, Tony's pick. So I'm a little bit confused that Tony seems to be a little bit, seems to be struggling a bit on some of the suitless movement while still deciding to pick the suitless category. But I digress. We're going to be doing some underwater wall jumping here instead of spring wall jumps for some reason. And Tony actually gets it. That is not easy. But really impressive stuff from Tony. You just wish that maybe he realized how powerful the spring ball is. Yeah, I believe that's our first underwater wall jump of the tournament. First of many, perhaps. It's not as powerful of a trick. It is out of logic, obviously. It's not as powerful as some people initially thought it might be when Map Rando first came out and a lot of the top runners were putting practice into it. It really only comes up in a few situations and really won't be coming up much in this tournament because a lot of our presets have gravity or the full suitless items. But it's certainly a nice trick to know, and it's cool that we got to show it off on this early round of the tournament. NZT, meanwhile, finds a Crocomire. Unfortunately, can't get to the map without Speed Booster. It is technically possible that the other side of Decorum is Fantoon, and I actually wouldn't have hated the decision to check it for NZT. Obviously, we know where Kraid is because Tony's seen Kraid. NZT does not know that because he hasn't been back to Turian. I actually don't know if he's been to Turian at all. But, you know, he'll find Kraid there. We know Dragon is next to Mother Brain, and if that was Fantoon at Norfair, then we're only one boss short. Obviously, I'm arguing from information that NZT doesn't have, so can't really criticize his decisions. But I would have liked to see the check there. Even if it's not technically correct, I think. Maybe some other people may have different opinions on doing that. NZT has found a lot of tanks. 5+1 already. Obviously 2 of those came from the Big Pink. They're speed boosters, so NZT making the right choice getting that. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see him go straight back to the map here, instead of continuing to blind check Norfair. Especially since we're going into another branching path. There's gravity, too. The Green Bryn Bridge holding the goods, giving us basically everything we could want. Gravity going to make this movement a lot nicer. Obviously, we have the skipping gravity loadout, but turns out having gravity for water rooms still makes you move a lot faster. The speed booster also going to help in much more direct ways. Tony finding an X-ray over here at the Gold Chorizo fight. Could have checked the top left item, but did not quite get that high, it looks like. At least didn't get the map tile. Maybe he saw the item and I missed it. Not that it makes too much of a difference, given that we can't grab it. Yeah, NZT right away heading over to the map, going to check this to see if it's fan-tuned, and it is not, so to the map we go. See if Norfair has the goods. But the goods, in this case, it really is just Ridley that we don't know about. There are a lot of X's up here, and a path to both Corteria and Wrecked Ship, the last two areas we haven't seen. Tony gonna continue some more underwater wall jumping. I don't know if Tony plays on console or on keyboard. I won't lie. Okay, he springboard jumps. We're learning. Hopefully he keeps doing that. So we see a very dangerous save room blocked off by the Turian hoppers, which there's a good strat to dodge them, at least on the way going left to right. If you get enough run speed and hold down through the door transition, you will duck under the first hopper and the second one will jump past you, giving you a relatively easy path to the door on the top right. But again, that's something that you learn from playing a lot of Map Rando, which again, Tony has not done. Somebody who's more experienced with traditional vanilla map and area rando. We do find another nice room here, though. Getting to the Wrecked Ship main shaft. It has another power bomb, which is going to be helpful. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if you just run through the door, if you can get to max run speed, which I believe is 6 tiles, so it doesn't work in every room, but if you get to max run speed without speed, and then just hold down through the door, you'll duck under the pirate, or not the pirate, the hopper every time. Don't remember who showed me that. It was, I think it was Zeb? Could be wrong about that, though. Yeah, it is good to know for obvious reasons, because those hoppers will do a lot of damage. 120 with no suit. One of the highest damage enemies in the game. Chat correcting me further, you actually don't need full run speed, but you just need most of run speed. I think it does work with a full 6 tiles without speed. I actually didn't know the setup with speed, so that's good to know in the future. We're all learning here. So NZT is up here looking for some more X's. There are a lot of X's up here in the West Ocean area that he is exploring. Tony is springball jumping back up the pre-aqueduct. There's a major at the top of Wreckship main shaft that he's going to go for. Unfortunately, we know there aren't a lot of good majors left. Getting charge is nice, but Tony reset out of the Spazer, so having just charge ice isn't really going to help for the time being. NZT finds double super here at the top. We are, if I'm not mistaken, a missile away from go mode. We would need one more missile to shoot enough projectiles to fully break Mother Brain 1's glass, which we need to do to actually kill her and start Mother Brain 2. This is technically enough damage because of double supers, but Mother Brain 1 won't die until the glass is fully broken. So we need 18 total projectiles, and we only have 15 to spare at the moment. But one more missile pack and NZT is ready to go. I assume we'll head to Criteria. I didn't actually see if the Criteria elevator or the Wreckship path, which was through the tube, is closer for NZT. Tony having a bit of trouble with this gate glitch to get to the save. Got there, though. Funny mandatory skill check to be able to save the game. I actually have Ridley up here. I think NCT saw this earlier. I missed it, though. But I have the tile loaded already. So just needed some more supers to do the fight. But now, with 35, NZT has plenty. You can play pretty aggressively too, since you can afford a few misses. Looks like NZT's going to play it as safe as you can. No problem there. Alright, Tony's made it to this major. What will it be? Base jump is not too bad. And with Ridley out of the way, NZT can now actually explore Criteria instead of getting blocked off at the entrance by the guardian of the area. And immediately, we find the ship. So we get our full refill right away. The map is also up here connected to landing site. Not going to be a Fantoon map. That means we know Fantoon is in Wreckship. There really just isn't anything in Criteria at all. See if NZT wants this X here on the bottom right. Looks like he does. If this is a super, then it is technically go mode from here, but it is just a power bomb, and NZT is not even going to keep it. Yeah, surprisingly small Criteria. Usually that doesn't happen. But yeah, we know Fantoon's in Wreckship, and... we know Fantoon's in Wreckship, and we know Kraid is in Turian, where Tony is right now. So, unfortunately for NCT, he's gonna backtrack for... gonna have to backtrack for a bit to be able to finish the game. He'll have to go all the way back to Kraid in Turian, which fortunately is right at the entrance, but unfortunately, we'll probably go for the map first and have to backtrack all the way back, or reload a save. There's a save right before entering Turian, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if NCT has the presence of mind to take it. It is sometimes awkward, especially since that will be the last area that NCT goes to. It can be a little bit unintuitive to take that save, like not something that's obvious. Not an obvious play. So I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. But if he does, it will save him quite a bit of time if he goes for the Turian mount. So right we go. The map is fairly close. And Fantoon is right here. Look at that. Tony, meanwhile, finding a charge beam up here in the top left, question mark, of Turian. So we've got that charge ice, and Tony knows where Plasma is, so in theory he'll be able to skip a lot of the X collection that NZT has done. Unfortunately, at this point, I don't know how much it matters. Obviously, having the crate out of the way is actually going to be really big for movement, but Tony's still got a lot of ground to cover to get back to where all the big items and the bosses are. Yeah, chat pointing out there really isn't that much overlap in the majors they found. The only one they grabbed, or the only one they kept and didn't start with, is Morph. Everything else was given to them at the beginning of the game, or something the other person doesn't have. Which goes to show how differently these runners are playing this seed, for better or for worse. NZT has taken down Fantoon, is about to get the bad news that Kraid is all the way back where he started. Turian, or, well, next to where he started, I guess. Point is, it's a bit of a backtrack. I don't imagine we'll see him go for any of these majors. I'd like to see him grab the... Oh wait, there's actually a path to Turian there. Look at that. Wait, that's sick. I didn't realize that. I didn't catch that on Tony's side when he got the Turian map. So yeah, NZT gonna grab these items. Unfortunately, it is not a secret, but the missile puts him in go mode. It's gonna look like a pretty fast finish time for NZT. Around 40 minutes, I would guess. He will have to backtrack all the way to Meridia, which is going to be a little awkward. I'd like to see him grab this missile, just to be safe. And we're actually going to see a high five. Right here. NZT flies by. Tony sees NZT with the full loadout. Wishes he had some of that. Yeah, there's a couple majors here. I guess it will be it'll be bombs and X, or no, we've seen X, right? Bombs and Wave are the two we're missing. That Tony will probably spend time to grab, unfortunately, in this area. Interesting that he's hopping on a sandpit. I don't know if I would have done this. This is a little bit tricky. With Space Jump, you can just break the plane of the water and Space Jump out. Unfortunately, these are just E-tanks. But Tony kind of needs some more energy, so he won't be too unhappy to see it. As NZT goes down, hits the map, finds out that Kraid is on the other side of Turian, and is going to take that reset. So even though it wasn't the save I expected, NZT did make the heads-up play, took the save before heading into Turian, and is going to be rewarded by having a slightly faster route to Kraid. It's a pretty tricky jump here. You have to freeze the Ever really high up in the sandfall, or you can't make the jump to the platform because it's so high up and completely surrounded by sand. like, now Tony just doesn't have the ability to do it. Gonna have to either reset the room or go over to the left and powerbomb, which will make the Ever rise out of the sand. That might work. I don't know if that's gonna kill it. Okay, it didn't. Nice. The tricky thing is, once it's frozen this high, you need to get onto it, which, not easy. There we go. Tony makes it across. And it's going to find the Bubble Mountain from the other side. Meanwhile, NZT didn't get the crate quick kill, but has taken down his final boss. There's an X over here, which we actually know is a super, so NZT will be up to 40. I don't know if going through Bryn and around is going to be faster to get to Meridia. Oh, wait, yes it is. It's actually going to be much faster. Meridia's just right here. Look at that. He's gonna fill up on supers as much as he can. Gonna make sure he enters the Mother Brain fight with enough ammo. Yeah, this has been a really impressive performance from NZT. I agree. We're seeing why he's one of the highest seeded players that's participating in round 1. Obviously, there were 47 players, so the top 16 were directly seeded into round 2. Top 17 players, actually, if I'm... Wait, no, I'm silly. The top 15 players. 16 and 17 are... I'm losing my mind. I was right the first time. The top 17 are seeded into round 2. So, NZT, one of the 2 highest seeded players in round 1. And we're seeing why. He's putting on a really impressive performance here, and... I don't think this is going to be quite a sub 40 seed, actually. The map is a little bit too mean. Not necessarily mean, but Criteria is too far away from Mother Brain. But still going to be a really impressive time. They actually froze the Ripper in a bad spot, so I had to super it to get it out of the way. That's kind of funny. Nice rare powerbomb drop from the bug there. Really wanted a super though. Already checked this X right here. We know it's a super missile, and NZT already has it. If he wants to, he can powerbomb the Rippers in this room, since they are guaranteed to drop supers. I don't really think you need to bother. The Dragon will probably drop the ammo you need. And if not, then you can just powerbomb them on the way back, headed to Mother Brain. There's also an X behind Dragon, which I wouldn't be surprised to see NZT grab. I'd maybe criticize that a little bit if he does it, because we already have 10 supers, or 5 supers over what he needs. But if Dragon decides to be mean with drops, then it can't hurt. I shouldn't be out here criticizing the runners for decisions they haven't even made yet. So we find our bombs here for Tony in the sandpit below Aqueduct. There is one more major all the way down, if I'm not mistaken, and that will be our not X-ray, our wave beam. So Tony gonna head for that and then get the bad news. Or actually, Tony has already headed to that. I just realized he has the wave beam. It wasn't marked on the tracker. Shout out to Mo on tracking, by the way. That was been doing a good job so far, other than that. And given that we're watching NZT about to finish the game, I don't blame missing that. But yeah, Tony has already gotten the bad news that both of the majors here kind of suck. Now we're going to have to do a tricky grapple jump out. Nice and easy. So, NZT just... Really being safe. You might not know that you can kill the Rippers for a guaranteed super. It looks like he's farming the bugs for full supers, which I really don't like that decision. Like, you already have extra. You have enough. Well, the good news for Tony is he has reached the fun area where both of the good items are. We'll soon be headed to Norfair map from the other way. Or, well, from the top, I should say. NZT has made it up to 40 supers, so gonna go ahead and head into the Mother Brain fight. $18 missiles and 3 supers is enough. NZT firing the last 2 missiles since they really don't matter. So now we have 7 supers of leeway here on Mother Brain. We missed one right at the start, unfortunately, but it'll be fine. We've still got plenty more. And nice and easy. NZT checking the map again. It's actually a little bit of an awkward escape. I guess it's actually not that awkward. We just wrap up and around. And then Meridia links to a couple different areas. Links to Norfair, which I believe takes us to Criteria. I like the Screw Attack sprite, or whatever sprite NZT is using. There's another missile that NZT could have picked up while he was farming for supers. I am harping on this maybe more than I should, but NZT has played a really clean game outside of the being a little bit too conservative with the ammo late game. Maybe conservative isn't the right word, but a little bit too afraid to just commit. Maybe doesn't know the exact amount of ammo he needed for the end of the game. But But he's played really cleanly through the seed, and the finish time is going to show that. Going to be sub 45 at least, which is nothing to nothing to scoff at. Even for these settings, which can produce faster seeds, 45-minute time is very good. Tony gonna head up to Meridia. We'll end up getting the bad news that Ridley is not here, but the other two bosses are. But I think he's going to get the worst news first. The NZT is about to finish. She does, right now, with an official race time of 44:59, right before the 45-minute mark. Tony gonna forfeit in response, as we have another game right after this. They've scheduled all 3 games of the best of 3 back-to-back-to-back. So with that win from NZT, we'll take game 1, but game 2 is coming up next. So we will take a quick break, let the runners get set up for the second race, and we'll bring you game 2 shortly. And we're back. If you went anywhere, went to get a snack, went to use the bathroom, and what you expected to be a longer break, bad news. We are already going. Welcome to game 2 of the best of 3 versus tonytyoung and NZT. First race was the Various Suit plus water movement settings, where NZT had one of the fastest times so far, I believe. I haven't seen every race, but pulled out a sub 45 time in a map that required a lot of backtracking. Tony did not have the cleanest underwater movement. We actually saw him in the break practicing the spring ball jump out of spring ball. Maybe just forgot that was a thing in the race. Had to check if it was possible, which unfortunately for him it was. So he wasn't able to keep that plasma beam from earlier. But the good news is we will not have to worry about that in this race, as our Game 2 settings, as picked by NZT, are double suits. Fairly straightforward. You start with the Various suit, and you start with the Gravity suit. And we start with a very close map already that we, of course, cannot get to. Is through a missile door. There are also multiple ways out of Meridia. There was a Turian exit and a Norfair exit. Right out of the gate. NZT going to go up to Norfair, take the tube, find a super that he can't get, find a knee tank that is helpful but doesn't do anything just yet. And that is all the fun in Norfair. Which brings us to either runner going to take the bottom right to head to Turian. Both going to head to the top left and eventually get to this big pink that you see Tony in right now, which has a morph ball. Good find there. Also grabs a nice reserve tank. These settings can be very fast, like the others, because of how fast you can get into go mode. Only need 3 tanks and either charge and a little bit of ammo or a lot of ammo to kill Mother Brain. NZT actually going to blind into this X that I imagine Tony is headed to soon. Going to fill up his reserve first. And that is our logical power bombs, which will get us our logical missile below morph. Also a couple X's that are not really obtainable. And one that is here at the bottom right. Nice super find. So both runners just grabbing all the items from out of this area. NZT a little bit behind because he went up to Norfair earlier, but does have that E-Tank advantage at the moment. And actually the routing might work out a little bit better if Tony wants to go down for the missile. She does not. I would grab that missile in NZT's position though, just because having a missile is pretty nice. But I digress. We'll see what NZT decides to do. Yeah, as chat points out, if you find Fantoon with 5 supers, you're not going to be in for a very fun experience. Yeah, NZT is going to grab it. Tony, the routing didn't quite work out cleanly, so will not have that missile pack, as he is headed to Norfair from the other entrance. This jump is possible. I know it is. I do not know how to do it. I just gravity jump up. I will not lie. As Tony gonna crash into the other crab. It can be a little bit tricky once the crabs start crawling around and getting in your way. There we go. Frame perfect stationary spin jump. Awesome. So NZT already has the knowledge of Bubble Mountain. I wouldn't be surprised to see him actually take the Norfair entrance he scouted out last time, just to get there. Whereas we're actually going to see Tony go under through where the tube took NZT. We find another early crate for Tony that NZT has not seen yet. Nice blind major find. Gets a wave beam for his troubles. Does that count as a high five, chat asks? I would say no, but if you want it to count, I will not hold it against you. Tony might have heard the rumblings of a person in metal armor falling down a metal tube at high velocity. Interestingly, Tony is not going to bother with the parade fight just yet. He finds a mother brain up here. Even better. I didn't see where the map was in this area. But either way, now we have something you can call a high five. Both runners in Bubble Mountain. Actually, NZT bails right as Tony enters the room. These wall jumps to get up Bubble Mountain are very tricky, and if I'm not mistaken, not actually in hard logic. So I think this is enough of our own way, but you have to jump right at the edge, and Tony jumped a little bit too early. So we immediately run into Shack Tool for NZT, or Spring Ballroom, not Shack Tool. This is a bit of a powerbomb investment. You do need 2 powerbombs to actually get up to the item, but fortunately with the gravity suit you can get out pretty comfortably. We see our Fantoon map, or our Fantoon save as well. I assume NZT saw that. NZT finds Mother Brain from the other direction. Yeah, unfortunately, the lack of wave beam is actually going to make Tony's life a little bit more difficult because it's very possible we have to do that gate glitch. So NZT blinding into that is obviously not going to decide the race, but it's non-trivial. But meanwhile, Tony's actually retracing NZT's footsteps, chasing him down. We'll see where this path ends up. Not look like it's going to the map. Actually, Tony is thinking better of it. Maybe not super comfortable with the gate glitches and wants to go do something else first. What that something will be, I do not know. NZT does follow the path to its end, finds out that it is just a missile and a loop back into Red Brinstar Elevator. But here's where we're going to see the wave beam. Don't need to worry about this gate glitch down here at the bottom of Green Hill. And so there is no fear heading this way. Assume Tony's going to head that way as well, but we'll have to gate glitch out, so non-trivial there. Run into a pretty scary room to find, as we don't know if we can get back from that amphitheater. NCT has the health to get back, but it's not comfortable. Looks like Tony is gonna go the other way. Well, I guess we'll see what Tony does. Okay, so now, NZT did not check this earlier, so now he's going to get the knowledge of the Phantom save. So we've got 3 bosses here. I believe I mentioned that already. One of them is Mother Brain. There could be more. See what we find over here. Tony is going to check out this bottom path here at the bottom of Ice Hallway. Just leads to an E-Tank. So not anything too important just yet. NZT finds the back of Mother Brain. Getting to the top left door of this post-Croc farm room is not in logic. So NZT not going to follow that. Going to head down Red Tower. Or not Red Tower, head down Climb. Well, Tony is going through Coliseum. Not Coliseum, Amphitheater. So not guaranteed to be able to get back. But Tony is going to take the risk. Going to take a bit of a beating trying to get past these pirates. There we go. Hopefully there's a good place to farm somewhere back here. That has yet to be determined, but there is at least an item. That could be nice. Fortunately, just a missile. NZT, meanwhile, does take down Kraid. Gets the quick kill that both runners weren't able to get in their first race. But unfortunately, that speed hallway blocks his path out. Which is a bit worrying for Tony, because that might be the intended way out of where he currently is. But does find another good room here in the West Ocean. A lot of branching paths and a spring ball. Gonna be nice. It looks like NZT is probably headed down to Turian, judging by that quick map scan. I'm gonna check out this path that Tony actually used to enter the area. Fortunately, not gonna find a whole lot. Yeah, NZT realizes he's just headed to ground he's already covered and is going to bail. Okay, so Fantoon is somewhere at the top of West Ocean. We'll see if Tony's able to get there through the bottom of the Edikun E-Tank. It is looking that way. Probably gonna have to go through the bomb blocks, which is where he's headed, right away. So Fantoon is up at the... It could be in the cubby, actually. It's either in the cubby or up here in this little crevice. And given how the map is shaping out, it looks like this is where Fantoon is. Yeah, I guess in both cases it would have been a small little cubby like that. Okay. That's interesting. So Turian is not accessible. And the answer was actually to blind amphitheater. That is what Tony did. Because there is a way back that we have yet to fully see yet. But it looks like that's what the seed wanted you to do, and NZT is now going to have to take the trip back. It's fighting Fantoon now. Fantoon was a little bit mean with the drops in round 1. Tony ran out of missiles and wasn't really able to get a good round, but the next 2 rounds are clean. So we'll see what else is here. Since the cubby didn't hold Fantoon, there is another 1-tile room there, so we'll see if that's an item or if it's just like a save or something. Both are very possible. Could also be like a refill. Plenty of options. And we'll get to see right now as Tony is headed to the map. So the way back... Way back. I guess it's just through what's that room called? The statue that normally requires X-ray. Because fun fact, I actually learned this somewhat recently. You don't actually need space jump to activate that statue in Map Rando. One of the few non-vanilla behaviors in Map Rando. There's also a third boss. I did not catch that on the map because I was too focused on yapping. There are also a couple majors and a path to Criteria. So I assume Tony's going to be grabbing both of those and then headed there, if I had to guess. But yeah, the logic just wanted us to blind amphitheater. I imagine NZT is not going to be too happy about that. But the good news is... he is headed there now. Gonna get a nice morph under... I'm actually gonna check this first. It makes sense, this item could open something, but it is just gonna be an E-Tank. Tony actually gonna head to Criteria before grabbing the majors. I don't fully agree with that, but that's alright. The map is close and to the left. Tony's going to do the snail clip first, grab these items in Aqueduct. I think that snail is too low. Yeah, it's way too low, actually. So we're going to have to bring the snail into the normal spot. That might be too high. Yeah. That, I think, is good. Okay. And there's a speed booster, which normally you would need to get those items, but Tony had to do the trick to get the item, and is going to be happy he did. The speed booster is very nice. We already have seen a couple speed locks. We've actually seen one to enter Turian, which is probably going to hold a boss, unless the last boss is here in Criteria. Apparently X-ray is required for that to be in logic. I did not know that, actually. Wait, are you sure? Well, either way, we do see the last boss here in Criteria, so Criteria and Norfair has everything we need to beat the game. Tony is currently in the lead. NZT still needs to kill Fantoon, get the map, and then head up to Criteria up here. There are a lot of majors here in Criteria as well. We'll see how many Tony wants to chase. We still do want Charge Beam. I don't think there were a ton of X's, so finding Charge here in Criteria or back down in Norfair going to be very useful. And Tony has had the opportunity to grab more items, and had the opportunity to grab non-major items, had the opportunity to go get those Norfair majors before heading here, so he's really going to be hoping that the majors here are what he needs. Those are plasma beams, so if we do find Charge, we're in pretty smooth sailing. Only gonna need to use this speed to deal with these metal pirates. Able to get them both. I believe this takes the ship, if I saw the map correctly. NZT, meanwhile, making his way to Fantoon. We'll be doing that fight here. Has the wave beam, but no charge, so epic spazer there. Tony not even gonna turn it off. Okay, so the rest of the majors are accessible in the top right of landing site, which is only a couple of rooms away. Just have to head back. Need to reload the speed hallway to get those crumble blocks back in position. Answer a question from chat. The first race was a Varia plus water movement items. That was Tony's pick. After NZT banned Gravity 9+1 and Tony banned the Metroid's No Mother Brain 2. So if this does get brought to a Game 3, our final race will be a no objective race, which We'll see how that turns out. See if NZT is able to finish Phantoon on this round. Not quite. But Phantoon is looking very red and should not take too many more shots. There's a screw attack for Tony. I would actually like going down the sandpit. The sandpit that leads to Criteria does lead to a major. I think I like just going down and grabbing those majors. You're not going to get enough ammo. You're probably not going to get enough ammo to kill Ridley. Tony going to be taking the bomb to Rizzo fight. NZT headed this way. This is not going to lead to the map, unfortunately. And I believe this is just a save, yeah. Okay, it looks like how NZT's playing this is he just wanted to scout all of this. Unfortunately, he's actually going to miss the most important item since there's an X at the sky. Oh, never mind. He's staying up here. Actually going for sky missiles. So yeah, NZT going to grab everything here blind. And then head to the map and head down. Which I don't hate that decision, but isn't gonna really work out the way he hopes. As speaking of not working out the way he hopes, Tony finds that high jump at the top of Criteria. That is not going to help him kill Ridley, so back to Norfair he has to go. Tony did find an ice beam. I missed that as well, actually. Unfortunately, Tony went down the wrong sand pit. Don't know if that was intentional to grab these items or not. So it's not too bad to get back, although without that high jump, getting up worst room in the game is going to be a little bit annoying. We have Spring Ball, though, so we don't need to do the silly wall jump. And we have Screw Attack to deal with all the pirates. But it is a bit of a tricky Spring Ball jump to get up. Oops. Alright, NZT, meanwhile, is making the play to grab this major here, which Tony had the opportunity to grab earlier. There's an item that would help right now in that space jump. Tony actually got a full reset. I assume the ice beam was the item at Hodor Ruby, because Screw Attack was the item at Old Mother Brain. So it looks like Tony's going to go back and grab those. Yeah, there's ice. So I'm going to grab those and then probably head down the other sand pit back to Norfair, I would assume. So the other major here is something you have to go down Aqueduct to get. Which is why Tony is headed back there. We might actually see a high five. It looks like NZT is going to go for the map first. Okay. So there's potentially two majors here at this spot. One of them is X-Ray, one of the items. The other one is a super. Which brings us very close. Actually, with the super from the top of West Ocean. And a couple of these missiles. This is enough ammo to kill Ridley, even though it's not exactly the most comfortable fight ever. I believe you need 45-25 is enough. And as chat pointing out, that's also our speed booster access. Yeah, I'm interested to see if NZT goes for this fight. Obviously, there's still a little bit of exploration to go. Okay, if it's... Yeah, 30-25. The power bombs, if you double hit them all, are 400. So 5 power bombs would be 2,000 damage. That's 25 missile equivalent. But then you would need, because you only have 20 supers, you need 30 more missiles. So if my math is correct, you need 40, and then you would need all your power bombs to double hit. Which, not comfortable, but it is doable. I believe NZT will be getting one more X. Yeah, there's the super right here. I remember it. So this is going to be enough for NZT to fight Ridley, but it's not going to be comfortable, and then we're still going to have to find more ammo to actually kill Mother Brain, which will probably require us leaving this Norfair Criteria area that has all the bosses. Unless we're going on the big grab every missile play, which I am not totally sure if that's what we're going to see. Tony taking a little bit of damage here, goodness. I guess most of Tony's health is in reserves, so his health looks a lot sketchier than it actually is. The major in Gauntlet exit was high jump. Tony scouted it, but didn't go up to get it. I believe the other item in that was a missile. So that is more ammo for Ridley in theory, if NZT wants to go down that route. Interestingly, NZT's actually headed to this major here from the other way, instead of from landing site. Gonna get this ice beam. I believe Plasma was below landing site? Or no, Spazer was below landing site. Plasma was a little bit further away. So, NZT, in theory, gonna get the beams in the better order. You hit Spazer first and then Plasma. I don't know if that's going to make him feel any better about it, though. And when he gets that wave beam. It looks like we are going to Turian. Tony wants that charge beam or more supers, which are not really accessible here. So, unless he wants to go fight GT, which does give a couple X's, it wouldn't be that unreasonable. But it looks like... I actually didn't know that secret passage was there, I'm not going to lie to you. It looks like we're headed to Turian. Fortunately, the speed booster gives Tony access to this area. NZT did actually go to Plasma first, so he will get the extra disappointment of getting Plasma turned off. Tony did keep Spazer, if I'm not mistaken. And he is not headed into Turian. Interesting. Okay, we're going back. I was gonna say that would be a strange play with Speed Booster to just bail on the speed lock. Especially since any major that he finds here is a 1 in 3 to be charged. The other two majors we're missing being bombs and grapple. We have seen both screw attack and high jump. Tony resetting the screw and only scouting the high jump. This room's gonna get a bit scary, falling down that shaft, but hopefully Tony's okay. Should have enough health to get through the acid. That is going to be at door level at this point. With the gravity suit, it's not going to be a problem, but it's a little bit sketchy. As the health does not matter. I'm really not sure what Tony's worried about. Like, if he's committed to searching for charge, this is the only place to go, right? So I'm not really sure why Tony keeps getting scared off. Unless there was another branching path that I missed in between this room and Decora. Doesn't look like there is. I don't know. I'll have to ask Tony about that at the end. Yeah, I agree with chat there. Like, he's got 2 full reserves. Like, the baby doesn't really cause that much problems. Looks like NZT is also going to be fighting Bomb Chorizo. I assume he resets Spazer. I missed it because I was watching Tony. Alright, so... Okay, just didn't grab it. That makes more sense. Or I guess that makes as much sense. Either one would be reasonable. The point is, he does not have Spazer. But he knows it's there. These crabs are mean. I swear, whenever you need to farm crabs for power bombs, they don't drop it. They just skimp out like that. Alright, NZT gonna see that high jump. It's definitely an item you want, but you aren't gonna go too far out of your way to get it. You can do a nice quick loop here. Go up the Green Bryn elevator, loop back down for the missile, and then go back up. And that would give you enough ammo plus some for Ridley. There's another missile there at the Edikun power bomb, so that gives you 55-25, which is enough. You need to double hit. Actually, I think it's enough to kill Ridley without double hitting any power bomb, as long as you hit all of your ammo. But it looks like NZT is gonna bail. Again, maybe not super confident in the math. It is very tight, without question. But yeah, he's not gonna go for Ridley. Not yet, at least. Gonna grab another missile, so this implies to me that he is going back up. Just wants as much ammo as possible. And so that'll actually give him 60-20, which allows him to fight Ridley without using any power bombs at all, as long as all the ammo hits. Maybe going for even more over here, just getting as much ammo as possible. And what this implies to me is that NZT does not want to leave Norfair. Once he gets out of Criteria and back into Norfair, he wants to be able to fight Mother Brain. So he is trying to grab all of the ammo that is available, all of these missiles. I believe there's one more X in Norfair we haven't seen, which I believe is going to have to be a super if we want to finish the game in these two areas. Tony, meanwhile, I haven't really been watching closely, but is continuing his trek to try to find the wrecked ship map. Or where was wrecked ship? Tony saw bombs in Main Street, so 50-50 between charge and grapple for the last major. Wrecked ship was in the top left of Norfair, okay. This is a possible Batoon fight. I believe it's in logic, actually, but Tony not going to take it yet, at least. Maybe he is. Or maybe he is headed back. Let's see what this X is right here. We can't get it from this side, but it is another super, and that should give Tony the confidence to continue. That's also really good for NZT. Once he gets back to Norfair, that X will be enough to finish the game. You gotta be careful, make sure he doesn't miss either of these items. The missile might arguably be more valuable at this point than the high jump, but both are not items you want to be missing. Tony has started up a Dragon fight. Unable to get the short charge, got the backup though. It's a bit low, but looks solid overall. Start to supplement these sparks with a couple supers, although getting a bit low now. Uh-oh. Oh no, Tony. Oh, that was a bit of a devastating jump there. I don't know how far back that brings us. Doesn't look like it's far back at all. But it does look like Tony would have to go back to grab that super and wreck ship. Actually just going to head straight back to the fight. Meanwhile, NZT has finished his item collection for now, at least for the Ridley fight, entering with 70-20, which is more than enough, even without power bombs. And again, with that super in Norfair that NZT hasn't gotten yet, this is enough ammo to beat the game. That X will give him the final bit of ammo required to do both phases of Mother Brain. And we know where every boss is already, so that's just the end of the game. NZT playing this very safe, don't want to miss any ammo. Technically has 2 supers of leeway, it looks like, at least. Well, not quite. Almost 2 supers of leeway. But NZT is not going to miss any, and Ridley is down. Good news is there is the ship refill. We can get on our way back down to Norfair. That will end NZT's fun in Criteria, at least for now. Kind of surprised he didn't grab the missile through Mission Impossible, but that's alright. Again, we know that there is an X on the way that will put NZT into go mode. And if NZT is still not comfortable, then Wreck Ship has a super right at the beginning, basically, which will all but seal it. That is over where the X is anyways. NZT not taking the refill though with the ship, instead just heading straight down. I think, if I'm not mistaken, both double refills are also in criteria. I saw on the map. That's a little annoying. Okay, so there's an X all the way down, and then there's the X over by wrecked ship, which we see. Also a path to Bryn. So NZT gonna decide how he wants to route this. Of course, first step is getting out of this little area in Norfair. So gonna have to... Looks like NZT might be going back through Amphitheater? Either that or just saving... I don't really know what else we're doing. Or no, this also leads to the intended exit. There is a missile refill down here as well, which I presume he will grab. It's actually a bit more on the way than the ship, but of course, it can never be proven right. NZT is gonna bail on it. Excuse me. So Tony also has enough ammo for Ridley, and is 1x away from 1x and a couple missiles away from enough ammo from Other Brain. It's actually a pretty close race. Yeah, I agree with Chad. It's kind of strange to see the that Chozo statue being so useful, since most of the time it just connects to two rooms, or it connects to one room in two different spots, and it's just kind of in the way. But not this time. Alright, so NZT making the... what's going to end up being the right play. Just headed straight to Dragon. Or... not yet. Probably going to grab that X first. Maybe check out Wrecked Ship a little bit. Or Bryn. Whichever tickles his fancy. But... the one super from the cubby, or from the jail, I should say, is enough ammo. So hopefully he just bails from there. It is, again, a little bit awkward to refill ammo because he didn't take any of the missile refills on the way down. Could have taken the ship refill or the missile refill up by West Ocean. Looks like we're headed to Bryn. Tony, meanwhile, with 25 supers in tow, going to be headed back to Ridley. I imagine he's also going to grab the X at the Sky Missile location, which again is another super, so that will bring him up to 30. Yeah, 70-25 is enough in Map Rando. You need 30 missiles for every super you're missing. So 40-30 is the normal amount, and then 70-25, 120, and so on. Tony did not, in fact, go grab that X. So we're kind of in a weird situation where both runners are basically go mode. Obviously, Tony doesn't know that that X is a super, but If he grabbed it, there's enough missiles on path to be go mode, and yet both runners are still on the hunt for more. It's a very awkward situation for all parties. We are 0 for 3 on BT skip. Indeed. Looks like NZT is going to bail and head to wreck ship. Good news is there is a super very early on in wreck ship. So, surely NZT will just bail from there. We do not know where charge is. It's in one of these areas, but wherever it is very deep. Goodness. So Tony is going to have about 40-25, which is enough for Ridley. Also has a 10th power bomb pack, which NZT did not have at the time. Should be a pretty comfortable Ridley fight overall. I'd like to see Tony grab a super from the Ripper though, but he's just gonna go. Alright, he's headed back. Maybe just didn't notice he was missing a super. But now we're good. Now NZT did in fact just bail after that super. Now this is well over the amount of ammo you need. But now, not taking those ammo refills means we are going to have to do some farming. And if Tony has a clean Ridley fight and grabs the super in Sky on his way to Mother Brain, this is actually going to be a very close race. Both runners are basically neck and neck at this point, I would say. Also depends on how fast this farm goes for NZT, who has been quite fortunate with the super drops, actually. Had to farm about 15 and was able to get them very quickly. I believe Ridley's dead. Tony believes as well, and he is correct. I think NZT is a bit closer to finishing the game, obviously right next to Mother Brain here. Tony isn't too far away distance-wise either. I assume he takes the ship refill. Also gonna grab these missiles and high jump. Also depends on how fast this Dragon fight is for NZT. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To answer, respond to chat. Obviously, NZT is closer in terms of number of tiles to travel, but does need to kill this Dragon. Tony is looking. Maybe just looking for a refill, honestly. If he can avoid going back to the ship, which technically he can. There is a missile refill below West Ocean. Looks like NZT wasn't having a lot of luck with the speed kills on Dragon. This is kind of a refill here. Tony? I'm gonna bail on it pretty quickly, actually. Interesting. Yeah, NZT using some ammo on Dre. If the supers don't drop from Dre that he wants, then we're gonna have to see even more farming. It was a nice farm swap for Tony. But again, I don't know if this is faster than just going to the refill. NZT is actually kind of in trouble. What in the world happened here? Alright, Dragon is down. We are gonna... he is gonna have to go back and farm some, but Dragon is defeated. Tony is... looks like headed to Sky Missiles. Gonna get that 30th super. And it's not too far to Mother Brain from here. I actually think Tony's in the lead at this point. There are a couple supers you can farm right before Mother Brain, because it is in Red Brain Elevator. Yeah, you have to go this way, Tony. You can also farm one right here, but I hope for his sake he doesn't. NZT once again farming, not quite getting as good drops as last time. I say that and he gets 2 supers in a row. Tony, farm the cac! Don't farm these! There's a cac! There's a cactus! It drops a super! Alright. We're good. We remembered. You can do speed zap skip with those shot blocks still intact. Looks like Tony's just gonna go for an ice clip. Don't think that was in a good spot, yeah. Looks better, but still having a little bit of trouble. There we go. And we are entering Mother Brain 1 at almost the same time. Tony is just barely ahead. Both owners need to be a bit careful. Actually, NZT really doesn't. Okay. Just shoot off the missiles until Mother Brain dies, and you've got 30 supers. Tony is going to have to end the fight with about 18 missiles. So it is actually going to be a slightly faster fight for NZT. In theory. I'm actually going to shoot the missiles off last, so going to get a double catch-up. But the fight is done. Both runners having super clean Mother Brains. And Tony continues his slight lead, but it is not the cleanest route back to Criteria. NZT doing some pausing to check it out before the rainbow beam. Looks like Tony's just going. It's a 2-minute escape despite being 2 areas. Tony's gonna pause now, just make sure he knows where he's going. It is just the way he came, so. And these pauses in escape are very non-trivial. It can decide who wins this, depending on who pauses more. And so far, Tony is winning that battle. Doing a good job not pausing. You can actually run through those gates, by the way. They do not close in the escape. Tony finding that out the very sad way as he rolls over the very open gates. This is, as Chad points out, like her 6th amphitheater of the race. And NZT gonna make up some time here. I imagine he has the more Map Rando experience, so he knows he can just go right through. Tony pausing. Didn't really get any information there, though, but... Here he is just up here. Won't be surprised if he pauses again once he reaches criteria, and I also wouldn't be surprised if NZT does the same. It is a little bit of an awkward path to the ship, actually. You kind of have to go up and around. Oh, well, no, that's not too bad. That's not bad at all. You just go up amphitheater and then to the left. Or not amphitheater, up aqueduct, in this room, and then to the left. NZT actually going without the pause. Tony needs to hurry up. It's 2 rooms. You can do it. Oh, man. Oh, my God. So Tony does make it. He holds on to the lead in escape, finishing in first place with an official time of 59:03. NZT finishing 8 seconds behind the time of 59:11. Sorry, 59:03 for Tony. I think I said 58. But the runners separated by mere seconds at the end of that one, and that brings us to our deciding game 3. Welcome back once again. 3rd and final race of this best of 3 between tonytyoung and NZT in the Map Rando Multicategory Tournament. Just like game 2, neither runner taking a break, grabbing a snack, nothing. Just going right into the next race. And we have an interesting deciding category. One that a lot of people have mixed opinions about, which is no objectives. Once again, it's fairly straightforward. Mother Brain is unlocked from the start. As soon as you find her, you can go into the room and start the fight. So, you just need to find the equipment needed to kill Mother Brain and survive the rainbow beam. Then you can finish the seed. Oh, this is a hype start. See who gets hit by the pancake. Both runners able to dodge it. The map is to the right. Unfortunately, that is through even more of this room. Actually, both runners look like they're maybe headed to the left first. Oh no. Tony taking the death, NZT barely surviving. And we do not find anything good. It is just a save. Not a save. Well, a tube and then the save. So, to the right we go. This is a bit of a nightmare. Oh my goodness, what a way to start off game 3. The last thing you could ever want to see as the runner after 2 races. Who needs to be careful? These enemies will one-shot him. Oh goodness. Alright, NZT makes it through. Rewarded with that morph ball. Tony just needs to deal with this one last pancake. Be able to sneak under it. Get to the ledge, and we are out. Nicely done from both runners. Immediately come across a map station, and it is fortunately not Fantoon. That could have been a Fantoon setup there, but we are lucky to avoid it. Looks like there's some items we can get up the elevator. There's a major and... there's actually one of each. Major, an X, and an O. So NZT heads straight there. Tony gonna take a moment to scout, and I assume he's gonna come to the same conclusion. There's not really anything else we can do, unfortunately. can't go down through the power bomb bridge. Tony gonna take a little bit more time than I'd like to scan out the area. But eventually heads up the elevator as well. We find an ice beam, and that actually makes me a little bit worried for Tony. There's a pretty big knowledge check coming up here. Getting through the Bashwuni tank room without, or with just ice beam. It is possible. You have to manipulate the Puyo so it jumps out of the sand at the highest jump height possible, and then freeze it there so you can get into the morph tunnel to grab the item. And in this case, it looks like there was a major behind that room, so you have to make it all the way through. There's also a super there, as you saw, below the bridge in early supers. Unfortunately, if you get that and don't get out from the crumble blocks, you aren't able to get back out. So NZT didn't go for the risk. Tony, meanwhile... Oh no, NZT. That's okay. This loops back to the room. We'll be fine, but... Did not make it through attempt 1. Tony, meanwhile, gets the supers. I think that is in logic, but it is scary to do that without a save, especially given how the seed starts. If you fail that, you are going back to thread the needle, going through that again. Okay. So both runners now have to get through this. And it looks like Tony knows what he's doing, which is good. Yeah, he's gonna realize that doesn't give him enough height. I don't know if he saw that he got enough height there on the jump out of the sand. This is what I was worried about. I don't know if Tony knows this, and this knowledge check might just end the series right here. Because there's nothing else to do. That is the only thing you can do in the seed. You can CWJ. That isn't in hard logic. And actually it looks like that's what the spring ball is for. That gets you across moat in hard, I believe. Yeah, Tony does not know. He's headed out. The issue with the CWJ is that if you fail, you can't get back. So we're actually going to see Tony go all the way back through Thread the Needle to get to that save, it looks like. Oh no. NZT died getting back. He died for the Puyo. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, to recap the series, since Chad is asking, Game 1 was a pretty resounding NZT victory. Played the seed out really well. The settings were Varia plus water movement. NZT's water movement was a lot better. Game 2 was Double Suit, which was a very close race. Both runners found all the bosses in 2 areas and had a big ammo hunt to get all of the ammo they could get from those 2 areas. And Tony won by 8 seconds, which forced this Game 3 no objectives. And now we get a very mean start where, unfortunately, Tony getting knowledge checked here by the ability to get through Botwuni tank with just ice and morph. So that is the state of play here. NZT went for those supers there at the bridge, below the bridge. Did not get them, so it's going to have to reset a third time. Fortunately for Tony, this room is much easier to traverse once you have that morph ball. Is the early super crumble jump in hard? I believe it is. It was in the past, I can say that. I don't know if it is anymore, but I believe so. Someone check and let me know. Let us know, the people. Apparently it is not. The crumble jump is not hard. And maybe it wasn't before. The seed I have in mind where it was required, it was not actually. Well, speaking of knowledge checks, does Tony know the jump out? Okay, he does. A little bit tricky to jump out of those sand pits. It is actually not in hard logic, but it is a very important trick to know. Apparently there's an ice clip for that item that's in logic. That isn't hard with X-ray? Okay, so Tony's actually going this way to the... or not up the elevator. I'm going to try to make it all the way across, but unfortunately, that is not going to happen. I didn't see what was up the elevator. I don't know if it was anything, though. I'd have to look at the map again. Great. NZT has made it back to the spring ball. Probably going to go up to get those supers now. Yeah, for those who don't know, the starting room, the thread the needle room, notorious for kind of just being really annoying. And so the fact that we have to start directly in the middle of the room, again, with no beams, so we have to we have to just fully do the room with the pea shooter. Not fun. NZT actually went through the other sand pit. I don't know if you can jump out of these sand pits with the sandfall. Okay, you can. Cool. That's fine. So there are a couple items that are accessible to NZT now. One of them is back through Thread the Needle, going up the tube that leads him to Mama Turtle. Gonna grab these supers first, as I expected. Now that there is no risk of failing. And because he has the backup power bomb to get out, he'll get the... Okay, didn't get the crumble jump. It's gonna hype him up, but not quite. Alright, so Tony is gonna check out up this elevator. It looks like it is truly nothing, actually. There's a refill, though, so... Oh my goodness. Tony, maybe a little bit too rambunctious with the D-boost. Actually took a rare death to the Vile Plume. Don't see that very often. It's a tough seed. This is not what you want to see in Game 3 of a best of 3 when you did the first two back-to-back. Alright, there's that spring ball jump for NZT, headed over to Norfair. I believe the major I was talking about wasn't actually in logic. Unfortunately, going down here is not in logic either, since there's not a way back up. There's an ice clip you can do to get the item But I don't think you can get back. So, yeah, NZT gonna bail. I don't think you can springball jump back up without high jump. It's just too short. Maybe it's possible. Apparently it is possible. Is it in hard logic, though? Not sure. Yeah, I also do not think it is in hard, so NZT not gonna bother. We're still at an early stage in the race. We don't really want to be breaking logic, which probably why he's not going over to get those majors over up the tube, which I also am not sure if that's in logic. I'm not sure if there's enough of a runway on either side to get back. We find a much nicer room. I say nicer as NZT runs into a lot of boulders, but relatively speaking, at least it's a room we can do things in. And another E-tank. So, NZT exploring the wrecked ship now. The map is all the way to the right, which is awkward because both of the doors are left-facing in this room. So, not totally sure where to go. NZT doesn't want to go down the rumble shaft below ice. Instead, gonna go up here, see what we find. Find a shack tool, which we can do with the power bombs. The snail is, of course, going to be as obnoxious as possible to NZT. Hits him twice and refuses to go the right way the first time. Of course. NZT going to take down shack tool. We'll say that one's justified in the name of self-preservation. Still sad to see a shack tool perish. NZT finds the Lower Norfair elevator. Again, this is the opposite direction of the map, so this is all going to be some blind exploration for NZT. The save is going to make things a lot nicer, though. But we don't have a refill yet, which is a little awkward. So we find ourselves in a bit of a mess. It is actually, if I'm not mistaken, on one tank, it is possible to get to the left of Lower Norfair elevator. But it is very tight. I think it came up in a monthly seed back when those were happening. Okay, NZT finding Decora. Headed back to the left. Gonna end up in an item room with another E-tank. Okay, Tony. Oh my goodness. Not quite getting it. He had the right idea, though. Yeah. So, for those who don't know, the Puyo jumps higher when it jumps out of the sand like that, so getting the Puyo to do that, freezing it at the apex of its jump, and then doing a crouch jump will get you enough height to get into that morph tunnel. I don't know if Tony knew that before, but it looks like he knows it now. And so that will let him actually play the seed as intended. And unfortunately for him, it actually doesn't put him too far behind, because NZT also had some early game struggles. Puyo being annoying. Oh my goodness. Okay. NZT ends up hitting a bit of a dead end, found 3 Musketeers, which is not something you want to be doing on this equipment. The good news is the connection between the top and bottom of Batumite are not too difficult, so it's not too much of a backtrack to retry it. Okay. Yeah, Tony froze it a bit too low. He's gonna try it again just to be safe. Alright, meanwhile NZT, with that save he took in Wreck Ship, is going to head down the Crumble Shaft. It looks like this way does head to the map, but still unsure if we can get there. There are a lot of heated rooms in the way. With 4 tanks, they are both in logic, getting all the way through this sequence. NZT did not have 4 full tanks entering the area, so... That's not gonna work for Tony. Tony's also within 1 hit of dying to the Puyo. Come on, Tony. You can do it. Oh, man. Oh man, oh man. So, NZT looks like he is headed to those majors I mentioned earlier, Pass Thread the Needle in Mama Turtle. Yes, to answer chat, this is a fully required progression. This gets you your spring ball, which gets you... Well, it's not even the spring ball that's super important. It's the power bombs that are right here at this X. And that gets you to Wreck Ship. Not totally sure what the logic is after that. Potentially getting to that bottom major? That's right below where NZT is right now. I'm not totally sure if getting up to Mama Turtle is possible. Or it's possible. I don't know if it's in logic. I don't think... There we go. Okay, Tony. There we go. Okay. We're in business. Goodness. NZT, meanwhile, looks like he's gonna go across this room. Elevator. There are a couple E-tanks on the left of this room, or at least 1 E-tank. It's a double item. We'll see what else is over here. This is technically not in logic, but It is not too difficult to break the logic here. It actually is a double tank. Look at that. 6 tanks. We find Charge Beam and a couple missiles. We're in go mode. Yeah, you have to do a stationary spin jump and catch the ledge right at the bottom. Then you can spam wall jump and get back out. It is slow. It is a lot of button mashing. But NZT is able to pull it off, and now has a couple more tanks. Gonna take a bit of time here to refill the reserve and hopefully get another super. I think staying at one farm might be faster than what NZT is doing right now, but that's okay. And again, I said this earlier, but I'll reiterate it. This seed, like, NZT has not made a lot of progression. And Tony, it took him a while to get these power bombs, but he's still not far behind. You know, he gets the E-Tank, he gets a couple E-Tanks from Wreck Ship. He's basically where NZT is. Obviously, NZT will have more knowledge and a couple extra tanks. Actually, looks like Tony is going to go back for those Mama Turtle items. I don't know if just Spring Ball gets you to those items. I know with a Power Bomb, you can do a tricky bomb jump to get to the top Mama Turtle item, which is where the Major is. Tony could also just be going to the Gauntlet item, which seems to be our progression, as people in chat are guessing. Not really sure what else it could be. I do think we have enough health to logically go down Crumble Shaft and Rising Tides, but NZT did not have full health trying to do it and has not been back. Looks like he's going back now, though. But as for Mama Turtle, he is holding a nice item, that Speed Booster. Tony setting up this spring ball jump. A little bit tricky. He's trying to do a later pause. This looks good. I think this gets far enough. I don't know if he actually got a spring ball jump off. I don't think the spring ball jump isn't hard. Yeah, so Tony, the problem with Tony right now is he's pressing the jump too early. You want to be moving as far left as you can, or far right as you can. I don't know, left and right. Yeah, I think. Okay, there we go. Nice, got the speed booster. Tony is in business. Dodging Mama Turtle is a little bit scary. Tony does not successfully pull it off, but fortunately has just enough health to survive. There is a farm down here, because this is, well, no, there's a heated room in between Gauntlet and where we are now. So, the farm might be Thread the Needle, so that's a little awkward, but The important thing is Tony's got the speed booster. Alright, meanwhile, NZT, headed back to these hell runs. We saw the Cora room in this race, right? Or am I mixing up all the seeds we've played today? Yeah, we have seen the Cora room at the bottom of Wreck Ship. So if Tony goes there, he can get to that room out of logic. NZT, meanwhile, doing some springball jumps. If this is possible, it's a last frame springball jump. I don't know if it is. Okay, it is. So I don't think that's in logic, but NZT is going to be checking out up here. He has enough power bombs to get to the map, but not enough power bombs to get back. And to be honest, I think I probably would go for that anyways, and just reset out. Okay, this is in logic though for NZT. Not that it makes a difference since getting here, but doing pre-Botwoon with just ice and springball is in logic. And NZT is going to go for it. Those were interesting Edakun sounds. Don't know if I've ever heard them in that sound font. That was a nice setup for the jump up to that ledge. That's a very tricky jump. You have to be all the way on the edge, on the lip of the ledge, facing away. It's not too hard to get on the edges like that, facing forward. Facing backward is pretty tricky. Yeah, I don't think it... Well... Yeah, actually, I guess the powerbomb count was kind of blocking Gauntlet. Wasn't it? Well, no, because you can enter from the back, use your power bombs to get to the item, and then just leave the way you came. And NZT's last save, I think, was in the one save we know by Thread the Needle. I guess he has that save right there now, so he can use that save to scam the map. Although, he needs one more powerbomb to do that. So that's a bit awkward. Speaking of powerbomb, the snail actually dropped one for Tony. I don't know if you noticed. Okay, so NZT's gonna bail. We might see him go back. Oh, he actually saved up here in that ship. I didn't realize. And we see a high five in the door. Look at that. We're all synced up. Tony finds that save, gonna appreciate that. NZT is gonna attempt 3 Musketeers, which cannot be in logic with this equipment. Not in hard. But getting the item might be. Technically, 2 of these tanks are out of logic, and I don't know if just 4 tanks puts this item in logic. It is an E-tank, though, so... NZT can get out pretty comfortably, or keep going. Less comfortably, but it is doable. Not going to bother with that, though. That's a little bit too scary. I assume Tony is going to come to the same conclusion. Not going to bother with that. And so, to Decora room we go. Tony going to follow that speed. Going to check across here first. I believe this was an E-tank? Yeah. Okay. That's going to be nice. But now the big question here. Will this speed get Tony something big? Down here in Decora. Survey says... maybe. We don't know yet. There is an item, though. And I have a sneaking suspicion... Aussie in chat earlier pointing out there's a pretty good chance that Gauntlet is a high jump, which would put the Mama Turtle item in logic. Okay, it's just a secret. I was gonna say that would put a pretty reasonable progression chain of get high jump, get speed, and then get this item. But unfortunately for Tony, it is just going to be a super missile. NZT, meanwhile, is headed back to Norfair. I don't remember what was over here. But whatever it was, we couldn't do it earlier, so I don't know why... I don't know what we can do now. He actually needs to be careful. One more fall into the right side of the moat is a soft lock. And for that reason, he is going to bail. We see another Shack Tool kill from Tony. We'll call that one out of spite, though. Tony dodged this Shack Tool on the way from right to left, killing it from left to right. I got, like, jump scared by the Edikun sound again. Goodness. What an awful sound. It does look like Tony is going for that meteor. That's right. It is Pantry is the room in Norfair. I remember now. Thank you to chat, pointing me out. Pointing that out. So yeah, Tony with speed can just do this. Also using that speed to get across moats. Could be nice. Well, here we go. Powerbomb in a weird spot, but gives enough space to get this. And there's our first missile pack. Only 36 minutes in. So NZT will not be able to grab that, but turns out it won't be that big a deal. And it looks like he has found himself a big pink. So we'll see if Tony's able to get there as well. Tony having that booster is going to be big, as we know. We'll see if there are any speed locks in the way. There we go. I would assume this is a save. It is not. It is a... Okay. NZT could not easily get that item without the speed booster. Tony checks it and is rewarded handsomely. They very suits. Okay. That is going to... that's going to mean something. And yes, to clarify to chat, those who don't know, the speed was out of logic, but we do think that the gauntlet item that was right below speed back in Turian was probably our progression, either high jump or potentially gravity. The seed usually won't put gravity that early, but it's possible. But yeah, Tony is just in need of ammo for go mode. Or charge. Technically charge is go mode from here, but that is a little bit tight. There's a grapple beam here at the bottom of Level Mountain. I don't know if NZT scouted that earlier. It should be grabbing it now. Or not. He must know what it is, because otherwise you would grab it, although I would probably get grapple anyways. Alright. Also pointing out, gravity would not put the speed booster in logic, so high jump does make the most sense for the item that we're skipping. NZT finding a spade from the wrong direction. We see Tony much better equipped than NZT is, but currently just following in NZT's footsteps. Is Tony going to try to spark up here? Looks like it. No, never mind. Just going to bail. I was going to say, sparking up in the game would have been a viable play. I don't know if it was in logic. NCP, meanwhile, headed back. It looks like to get to the map, we're going to have to go through, I believe it was Pre-Flower House. Which the person with the Varia suit is much better equipped for at the moment. Though NZT does have 7 tanks, so it is not too difficult. Unfortunately, with that, well, we don't know, actually. There's a Spore Spawn. Probably not going to bother fighting that. And it looks like we are headed back to Worst Room. Tony going to try to spark it. It's a little bit tough with these idiots throwing stuff at you. Tony actually just gonna fully clear out the room. Or... that's a little awkward. Okay. Already got the short charge. And gets a spark. I would imagine that's in logic. I don't know though. Again, it's hard to really determine what is and isn't in logic at this point, given that we know the speed booster wasn't. Honestly, we just have Spring Ball, so we could have gotten up anyways, but regardless, we find the other side of Spore Spawn. Which is actually interesting, because that means we don't even need to go Worst Room. So that was already in logic, I believe. NCT, meanwhile, does grab that Varia suit. So that is big. And that's a room that, if high jump is where we think it is, we could cross it. Either runner opted to pick up the high jump. If it's the item I gauntlet room too. So Tony, with nothing else to do over here, gonna head out. I didn't see what the room was after Pre-Flower House. This amphitheater, so that's a bit scary. It looks like amphitheater leads to below Mount Everest. This is the fish tank. So that's not actually something we can do. And Tony has not saved in a while, so hopefully he does not just jump down there. Well, here's Tony. Jumping down there. You can build up a spark and spark up. It's not the end of the world, but that's not what you want to see. Oh man. I'm running out of supers too, so can't afford to mess this up. Uh-oh. Bad news. He messed it up. One more try at this though. Tony being very careful now. Oh no. That is not good. I don't know if this is enough missiles to kill these. It is. Okay. So we have one more try. Actually, the fish drop missiles, so in theory we have infinite tries, but it will not get nice from here. NZT finds super and resets it, looks like. There we go. Okay. So you can get across to the other side of this room. The other top door. You can actually check both doors from here, but it is a bit tricky. For this, you kind of have to jump from the other high ledge. Going down here isn't going to get you enough height. But you can jump all the way across from the top. It's another last frame spring ball jump right here, I believe. Tony having a bit of trouble, which is scary, because again, I don't know when the last time Tony saved was. There we go, okay. So he is going to check the bottom door, it looks like. Bottom right. In a perfect world, it will be a... Oh my god. That... I can't say the word I was about to say. We are going back. I do not know where the save is. I believe it is after speed, though. But that is not good. Okay, so Tony going to be re-grabbing some items. Re-grabbing this E-Tank and Super. At least the E-Tank, I would imagine. Or I guess just the Super makes more sense since you know you're grabbing Varia. NZT, meanwhile, found a screw attack over here on the other side of Norfair. there is our friend, Mother Brain. NZT has the health to survive and the ice to clip in, but lacking in firepower. Charge Beam would technically put Mother Brain in, not in logic, but it would make it doable. But that would not be very fun. It's a major. Unfortunately, it is not Charge Beam, but maybe that is fortunate because it means NZT won't be tempted to do any 200 charge shot shenanigans. Oh, Tony, fell in the acid. Oh no. Okay, so NZT also found Gravity Suit. That's big. Got 2 really good movement items. There's another super. Still not close to being able to kill Mother Brain, but NZT has reset out of a couple supers that he can go back and grab. Nice springbolt jump there to get across. And so now NZT... Excuse me, I'm losing my mind. Now NZT can go back to the Norfair map. He should be able to get it no problem with the Gravity Suit. And then... from there, you're really just hunting for ammo. Yeah, NZT looking like he is in a very commanding position. Tony was looking good, but the blind check into Fish Tank has set Tony very far back. We'll see how he's able to recover. Still has that speed booster over NZT, but it doesn't look like that's going to matter, as the speed locks are not present. Yeah, as chat pointing out, if that is the case, where we're just fighting Mother Brain now, we are going to have a very fun escape that is going to be completely blind. We don't know Criteria map. We don't actually know where Criteria is, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Mother Brain was on the left side of Norfair. We have found that now. The map is right here. NZT grabbing another E-Tank, which, if we find Charge and we just want to go for the 200 shot fight, having a million tanks would not be unwelcome. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot left. There's that X that was behind the Lava Dive that NZT scouted earlier. That's a super. The major, NZT did scout it. It is Spazer. So that also may be nice to go grab. There's a couple past the Bryn. We don't have Charge yet. So we can't do Mother Ring yet, but I do agree that with Charge Ice Spazer, you kind of just have to commit to Mother Brain in these settings. Which is another thing that people don't, I wouldn't say don't like, but another interesting wrinkle to these no objective seeds, where even when I got jump scared by the Edikun sound again. Even if you are technically able to fight Mother Brain, if it's just barely possible, then it does create a little bit of an issue of, like, you know, do you go for the barely possible fight, or do you try to hunt for more items. And try to hope you can quickly find something that speeds up the fight. But NZT doesn't need to worry about that yet. Without that charge beam, I'm going to be hunting for criteria. So, luckily, no blind escape, hopefully. Yeah, NZT able to follow that Varia, get on the path to Gravity Suit, has really made a difference here. That gave the full Norfair map, which gave him access to criteria, which is over here. I believe it was not too low. Okay, nice. Map is just up. Might have to fight Fantoon for NZT. Yeah, this is looking like a Fantoon setup. There are a lot of left doors. A lot of right doors, I mean. But no Fantoon here. Ship is fairly close. There are no majors, though. And I think NZT is going to see that and head down to Bryn. There were a couple X's to the left, though. It looks like he's going to grab those first. I didn't see where Tony died, by the way. I was looking at NZT, but it looks like he took another death. I thought I saw him spark across to Norfair. Oh, he died to the acid. Oh, man. That's tough. Okay, so NZT finds one super, one power bomb here. That's double X. Or no, it was double supers. So we're getting closer. There's one more X over here. I was ready for the Edakuns that time. Goodness. That sound is so bad. Okay, yeah, so NZT gonna bail. I assume he's gonna take this to Bryn. It is basically straight down from the Criteria entrance in Norfair. Hey, I'm gonna have nightmares about that sound. It's not even a joke. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else on this corner of Criteria. NZT just on his way out. I think that might have been Kraid right next to him. It was either Kraid or the Wavegate. So Tony has made it back to the Varia suit. That's good, at least. I don't know exactly how NZT got to Gravity. There's also Meridia over here, so there's actually 2 more areas for NZT to check, if he so desires. I want to say Ridley takes 45 supers in Hard Logic instead of 35, but I could be wrong about that. Obviously, it only requires 30 to just do the fight, but that isn't in Hard Logic, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, so NZT going to Meridia first, immediately gets a missile. And immediately finds a big room with more items. Looking for more supers or that charge beam, and it's one of those. So... one more super pack and a couple missiles. 40-30 is the minimum to beat Mother Brain without refilling. I imagine there's a couple missiles NZT has seen on the map that he can go grab. So if he does just get a super pack and nothing else here, then I think you can still just bail. A couple powerbomb doors here for NZT. So there's a tank at the maze and just a missile up here at Sky. Tony is looking like he's headed out of Norfair. There is a speed lock. Unfortunately, the person who has speed booster is not the person over here. But here's a couple items we can grab. There's another super. See what the last item is. It's a power bomb. I still think I'm bailing from here. Surely there's one missile somewhere on the way back. But NZT gonna keep hunting for now. Another nice room with a double item. We're seeing a lot of stacked rooms in this area. And there's another one. NZT wants to go through that. Oh my god, Tony didn't even want to hear the Edikun sound anymore. Went in the room, immediately left. Just a power bomb at the spark. There's our last missile. If NZT wants to do minimum ammo, that is all he needs. This might get awkward to get to that missile, though. We're gonna have to do a little bit of backtracking. It's another item here we can grab as well. Is it good? Is it a missile at least? It is not. Bomb's not going to be super helpful at this point in the seed, unfortunately. Right, so NZT gonna get this map. Or Tony gonna get this map. I don't know if NZT ever actually got it. Funny enough. I don't think he did. I think he just left for Norfair, and then Norfair had everything he needed. And there's good reason. We have basically seen everything. There is nothing past Three Musketeers, and that was the last thing we didn't know. A lot of power bombs NZT is finding. Again, I would really like him to just go to Mother Brain, but... what can you do, right? Yeah, NZT's got the ice for Zeb Skip. He's got 1 million tanks, so even if he's worried about missing shots and wants to take the fight super slow, he doesn't have a risk of that either. He's got 1 million+1 tanks. There are missiles on the way back, I believe. I don't know, Again, I don't want to criticize the runners too much, but maybe this is a weird thing to say. But I'm a little bit disappointed that NZT is still looking for items. But at the end of it all, NZT has made it. Has found another super pack, and surely now he just goes for the fight. Getting Bavaria for a third time? I didn't see why he... Did he die again? Or did he just reset back to wreck ship? I didn't see. Reset, okay. I guess that's fine. He's done the traversal from the wreck ship save to Norfair so many times that you can basically speedrun the route. So NZT headed out of Meridia back to Norfair to finish the game. And yeah, I will agree with the sentiment being shared in chat right now. Even if you have done a lot of map randos, which Tony has not, so definitely a bit more lenient on him, but doing this in a 1v1 tournament race where, you know, the loser is not eliminated from the tournament, but knocked down to the lower bracket, like, playing in a race setting is a different beast, and you really have to experience it to really feel that, if that makes sense. So, like, I'm sure a lot of the mistakes, a lot of the overly cautious play that we're seeing are things that, you know, NZT is very capable of beating the game without grabbing a ton of extra ammo from Mother Brain. But, you know, when you're in a race, you're in game 3, there isn't a great spot to save near Mother Brain. And so if you mess up, you are going way back. You don't know where your opponent is. Your opponent could be an escape right now, for all you know. It's a lot of stress, and I don't blame people for playing suboptimally and playing a little bit overcautiously in a stressful situation like this. Also, as we approach the end of this seed, I will inform the audience that, unfortunately, we will not have time for interviews of these two runners. There is something coming up right now. It is scheduled for 3 p.m. Eastern. So, as soon as this race is done, we're going to have to hop right over. So, unfortunately, we won't get to pick the runners' brains here, which, again, is a shame because there's a lot to talk about after a full best of 3 of races. but still good to see the runners. Be sure to give them a follow. They both put on a heck of a series. And you know, that's all we can ask for here. And we're gonna get that space jump and that gravity. NZT does miss a super, but has plenty of missiles of leeway. Actually had plenty of supers of leeway, it looks like, judging by how he's playing. Also, while we're shouting out the runners, go ahead and give a shout out to Mo doing the tracking for this race, Aussie for doing a lot of the setup, and the entire SpeedGaming infrastructure, allowing us to restream these races with really really nothing from us, as they've already got everything set up. I'm just talking to a computer screen. So big shout outs to SpeedGaming, all that they have done for years at this point. Anyways, NZT's got to make his way back to the right side of Norfair so he can go up and get to Criteria. Tony, meanwhile, is finally on his way to the map. Couldn't get that earlier. That super door was extra mean. I don't actually know if this is the path to the map anyways. I think you have to go up, yeah. But, unfortunately, by the time he gets to the map, he is going to get the bad news that NZT is finished. He has made his way to Criteria. Mainly just has to retrace his steps to the map, because if I remember correctly, the ship was right next to the map, basically. Tony now seeing all that there is to see in this seed. Okay, NZT has to go through Botwoon, through a couple more rooms. Or go up. This works too. This was the way he went to the ship the first time, and you know, sometimes that's the most important thing. You know this route works, so no need to overthink it, just take the route. NZT will take the route to the end, finishing in first place with an official time of 1:10:42. Going to be winning the series 2-1, moving on to the second round to play Super Sponge. And yeah, that's all we have time for today. So thanks for watching, y'all, and stay tuned for more Map Rando.